And do you think central banks have that sort of constraints as well in terms of the median votes, or do you feel like they've got that? Yeah.
Great question, Anthony, because that's going to be a huge issue. I mean, that's an incredible question, because that question is going to be the question of 2023, my friend. You know, you nailed it. And here's why. Everyone's backing off right now. Everyone's cool. CPI has peaked. CPI is going to come. The way I say it is this. Look, the Fed could take a vacation. Okay, close up shop. We're at 4 or 5% CPI in 6 months. We all know this. CPI has peaked, blah, blah, blah. I can show you 60 charts. All right, cool. But what happens when we get to 4%? What happens in Q3, Q4 of 2023? When we get to 4% CPI and we stay there, and we stay there, and we stay there. That's when the central banks are going to have to say, okay, getting from 10 to 4 was actually kind of easy, you know, and it didn't incur a lot of pain on the median voter. And the inflation versus recession cost benefit calculus actually favored cutting down inflation. There was fear of recession. Elizabeth Warren wrote a letter to Jay Powell like, hey man, you know, watch out. But for the most part, Twitter, hashtag inflation was trending higher than hashtag recession. Now you get to 4%, okay? Now what happens? Well, first of all, a normal human being cannot discern the difference between 2 and 4% inflation. Let's just be real here. Second, at 10% CPI, your real wages are what? Minus 5%. At 4% CPI, your real wages are flat, if not positive. So who the hell is asking the central bank to go from 4 to 2%? Who is that human being? Some professor of economics at Yale? Some PhD in economics shaking their little fist at the perniciousness of a 4% CPI over the course of the rest of this decade? Nobody's going to have a problem with 4% CPI. Not the corporates who can pass on price increases, not the consumers who are making enough money to swallow it, and definitely not the politicians who are looking at the sovereign debt hoard and saying like, man, 4% for a couple of years looks like a good idea. And that's where the median voter does matter. I think the central bank would basically be committing the sin of monetarist jihad if they went from 4 to 2%. You know what I mean? This is like unnecessary hawkishness. And I think that you will see Q3, Q4 next year, the median voter have an impact on the central bank, where I don't think they're going to have the guts to go from 4 to 2%, because it's just like nobody's asking for that. And that's actually the biggest probably macro story of next year. Like, I don't want to put any trades on right now based on that view, but it's clear that if that happens, if the bond market has to realize that effectively, not de jure, but de facto, we have a new inflation target, you know, bonds got to sell off again.